You're now listening to the Something Good Podcast Network. Please press any key to continue.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Couch Potatoes. Today we'll be doing an episode on the retrospective of Goodfellas.
Sweet.
Classic American tale.
Always the best.
Always about those Irish
Italian
monsters.
Terrible diets. Terrible diets.
Sausages and alcohol.
Sausages, alcohol, and a copious amount of cigarettes.
Yep. It's just spoken constantly in that movie. I love it.
It's just like, did you guys add a fog effect? No, just the amount of cigarette smoke rolling in. Half the crew's got cancer now.
So we're talking about Mr. Ray Liota, Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, and all these other fucks. Paul Sorvino's in it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every other mobster we've seen in
Michael Imperioli.
Spider.
Yeah.
Defunct cast that would eventually create The Sopranos.
Yep.
But yeah, let's go into this. Do you remember the first time you saw Goodfellas?
The first time I watched Goodfellas, I think I was like 7 or 8 years old. So I shouldn't have been watching it. Yeah. But, you know, it was going to happen eventually. So I ended up just sitting there with my grandfather one day and watching it because he was a fan of those movies. That's how I found Casino as well. These were all my grandfather's movies that he was watching. First time I watched it, I didn't understand a damn thing about it. The only thing that really sunk in was the ridiculous fucking nicknames everybody had. Yeah. And the copious amounts of swearing and violence.
Yeah. Well, like we've talked about it before in our intro to this kind of series was Godfather is how the mob thinks they look. Yeah. Goodfellas is actually how they fucking look.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Godfather was their PR campaign, whereas Goodfellas was kind of like, we're going to show you how they actually fucking were.
Yeah, the fucking trash.
It's just piece of shit human beings, psychopaths.
Yeah. But yeah, going into it, it was released in 1990 to a good opening for the weekend, for their first weekend opener. It kind of lost out to other movies around that time. But in the cast, we have Ray Liota as Henry Hill, Joe Pesci as Tommy DeVito.
DeVito.
Paul Sorvino as Paul Cicero, Lorraine Bracco as Karen Hill, and Frank Vincent, Michael Imperioli, Tony Cicero, and a myriad of other characters. Samuel Jackson, another movie where he dies.
Yep.
Vincent Pastore, quite a few other great characters.
Yeah, and Vincent Pastore is like 10 seconds of screen time. He's the guy moving the coats.
Yeah. Kevin Corrigan's in this movie, and if you know about Kevin Corrigan, have you ever seen the show Grounded for Life? He was the uncle.
Oh, shit.
He was in a wheelchair. He was in the wheelchair. He's Michael Hill. His younger brother.
Really? That was him?
Yeah.
Damn, dude. I didn't realize that.
So when I started watching Grounded for Life was on television, and that's when I saw the movie. I'm like, holy shit, it's the uncle. Because he had one of the funniest lines of like sitcom history. It was just like the kid is like on the Grounded for Life. The kid is like writhing on the couch. He's like, what's wrong with him? Oh, I think he's fucking possessed. And he takes his hand, dips it in his drink, and throws it on the kid's eyes. And the kid starts fucking screaming. He's like, oh my god, is that holy water? No, it's vodka.
I probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, motherfucker. He's not possessed, but he's burning. But yeah, you know, a cast like this, man, today when we think about it, it's like, fuck, that's a good cast.
Yeah, even now, by modern standards, that's still a great cast. Because you really don't have, that's the thing, you really don't have a lot of like gang or crime movies that much anymore. And the only crime movies you have are usually bank robbing flicks. Now, you don't have a lot of mob films anymore. I think the last one that really had any sort of mob tie was obviously The Irishman.
And before that, probably like The Departed.
The Departed. Which is
all fiction.
What's that other movie?
Black
History of Violence is another one where it's kind of implied.
Yeah, well, he's in the Russian mob.
Yeah.
That one goes into like Eastern Promises and stuff like that.
Yeah, and there's
the History of Violence. Man, people don't know about that movie, and I remember watching that when it came out. And I'm like, why is no one else watching this movie?
Well, it's funny, that movie's based on the gas scam that the mob pulled.
Yeah.
Michael Francis, who they actually mention in Goodfellas when he's going through the bar, that he was responsible for that. They created a bunch of shell companies, bought the gas at a discounted price, didn't pay taxes on it, took the money, funneled it, and brought it into those shell companies, took the money out. So
it's
all was
like
clean.
it's kind of like when you start moving cigarettes in mass. You're just paying for someone who owns a stamp, and you're just stamping all these fucking cigarettes.
Exactly. It was the exact same concept. They were basically making close to $1 billion a year.
Yeah, but the same as cartels now. Like, cartels have actually started going into the gas business.
Oh, yeah.
And what they'll do is they'll drive up to a pipeline, bore a hole, and start pumping gas out the fucking pipeline. That's fucking crazy.
That's fucking nuts.
Like Sinaloa, the county of Mexico, Sinaloa is being lit up right now because there's a power vacuum going on because of that shit. Because El Chapo's son just got arrested.
Oh fuck! So now they're trying to fill the spot.
Yeah, I kind of miss the George Bush era of way of dealing with those motherfuckers when you just call them terrorists.
Oh yeah, like how they did with Ron or Raul Garza. Where they just they took him over the border and fucking executed him in the United States, even though he didn't operate or wasn't arrested in the United States for a crime. They just extradited him.
Well, he made it over here, didn't he? And that's a damn shame. That's kind of like the whole Roman Polanski. It'd be a goddamn shame if he made it back to the United States, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he'd probably last 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was like
there's a certain man at a phone booth for some reason that keeps looking over his shoulder.
I'm like, I don't know if I'm more surprised that there's a man at a phone booth or that there's a phone booth.
What the fuck is a phone booth doing here? What's a phone booth?
Grandpa. Shut up, Grandpa. They were never real.
Shut up, Boomer. Go back to your phone booth. Boomer, I'm fucking millennial. What the fuck?
just clocks you with a fucking TikTok phone.
Ow.
He's a Chinese little bastard. Back in my day, we just had Vines.
It was a simpler time. It was a better time.
You had 5 seconds to plead your case.
Or you could be like that dude on his lawnmower. I have the power of God. The fucking 357 at the cop car.
But going into the craziest part of Goodfellas, Henry Hill. My favorite mobster character in movie history is it got to be Henry fucking Hill.
One of the biggest rats ever.
Yeah, but whether it's a true gangster movie or a fictional one, he is my favorite overall because you have your Michael Corleones, you have your Scarfaces, you have all these other characters who play either the anti-hero protagonist of the story. Henry Hill is my fucking favorite.
He's like the how can I put it? Like the flawed Greek hero in a way.
Yeah. And he is very flawed.
Completely. Drug addicted, alcoholic, womanizer. You see everything throughout that movie except for the fact that they mention that Karen wasn't exactly, pure of heart either. The whole don't give me the whole babe in the woods routine. Okay, Karen, I heard you on those wiretaps. Well, she was also sleeping with his boss while he was in prison, too.
Yeah, Paul Cicero.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the true story of the Goodfellas. But let's go to the beginning of the movie. So the movie opens up with them having Billy Bats in the trunk.
Yep.
And it's them driving, and we meet our main 3 characters. Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Ray Liota as Henry Hill. Friends till the end.
Yeah.
This is Stand By Me with more steps.
Stand By Me, except we made the body.
Yeah, we made the body. Hey, you guys want to see a theft? You guys want to see one of the most craziest thefts of all time?
To Donovan?
Yeah, Donovan. God damn.
Way down below the ocean. I want to shoot him in his fat fucking mouth.
The soundtrack is off the fucking rails in this one. So good. It's all cuts from the late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah.
A lot of Rolling Stone, a lot of 70s rock just starts coming in toward the end of the movie.
Eric Clapton.
Yeah. And I'm just banger from beginning to end. And there's so much you can learn from the movie just from the soundtrack alone.
Oh yeah.
And And of course, you got the Rolling Stones in it, of course.
Which just makes it perfect.
Yeah, Give Me Shelter is blasted.
It's always, and he even used that song in Martin Scorsese even used that in Casino, but he used the live version of it, which just made it even better. It sold the whole montage they had going.
And like, was it the live version of Comfortably Numb they used in The Departed?
Yes, but it wasn't Pink Floyd. It was Van Morrison doing a cover with a couple of like friends of theirs, like other musicians.
I remember that caught me off guard when that scene happened, and I'm just like, is that fucking Pink Floyd?
Because I was sitting there too, because I'm like, this is a really good version of Comfortably Numb. I'm like, that's not David Gilmour, and that's not David Gilmour at all singing that.
But yeah, so we opened up the opening, which they've already captured Billy Batts. He's in the trunk, banging. And it's just like, God damn it. And they got to pull over, and they're all basked in like red light because it's the brake lights. And they pop the trunk, and then it begins. From since I was a little boy, I always wanted to be a gangster.
And then cut, and here he is as a kid, growing up in New York City.
And the kid did a great job as a young Henry Hill. And like the dad, the mom, the little brother, it's very quick about the young part of Henry Hill.
Yeah.
He meets a young Joe Pesci, which looks like a young Joe Pesci.
It sounds like him too.
Yeah, he has that weird little fucking smirk. I would have loved if he was like a kid in Home Alone or some shit. That would have been funny. Like he was just like a little Ned. Like, fuck you, kid. But like the whole opener of the movie is classic. Like he looks across the corner and he's looking at the pork store where makes of The Sopranos. Yeah, that little open,
the cab stand, the pizza parlor too. Yeah,
it was where the mob would do subtle operations out of.
It was basically holding court, kind of like when you go to a business meeting or a business party, like a party for your work.
Yeah,
you're going to talk about work while you're there, but it's mostly a hangout kind of social club. Hey, what's the numbers for this week? How much do we make? And
it's we're understanding that it may be the late 40s at that point.
Roughly. Yeah.
Because things don't really pip off until like the mid 60s where it gets real fucking nuts. But Paul Cicero's there. A lot of his guys work out of the back of the restaurant, but we have front men in the front. And the cool thing about the front men and the guys up front is you have, like you said, it's the cab stand. So you have people coming in and out, but you also have thugs coming in and out. The scene where the guy's all bloody and running up to the fucking cab stand.
Oh, they shot me.
And they fucking shot me.
Yeah, because he comes in, it's a pizzeria at that time. The cab stand, though, is that scene where Tony Sirico, same guy who plays Paulie, is fucking with Tootie. And Paul Sorvino steps out and just stares at them like a pissed off dad.
Yeah.
Like gives him that dad look.
And like we find out that Henry had got a job working inside the pizzeria. And I love the guy who runs it, the fat guy out front. He's
Tootie.
He's Tootie. He's like, Henry, why are you wasting the good towels?
Henry, you wasted 5 fucking aprons on this guy. I gotta toughen this kid up.
Yeah, fucking next time just let him bleed. God,
have that. I can't have that in this joint.
But it turned out like during that time in the movie, he's working and working for these guys, and he's having such a good time working that he starts just skipping school altogether. And I love the dad. It's such a fucked up scene.
You having a good time at school?
Yeah. What'd you learn in school today?
You learning a lot?
Yeah.
Well, that's funny.
It just goes after
you haven't been to school in months.
It just beats his motherfucking ass.
The freeze frame is what kills me with him talking about how he was taking a beating. Like, everybody has to take a beating at one point in their life. And it's just the freeze frame of his dad just fucking biting his lip, like about to hit him again.
And it's just like, that was the last time Henry ever took a beating.
And then they extort the fucking mailman. After that. Is that him? No.
Well, remember, he goes up to Tootie. He's like, hey, Tootie, I gotta quit. He's like, what do you mean you gotta quit, son?
You're gonna fuck everything up.
Yeah, you're gonna
look at my eye.
Yeah,
my dad'll kill me.
He's like, what happened? He's like, well, you got a letter in the mail. Well, guess what? We're gonna talk to the letter man. You're gonna talk to the
come on, let's go take a ride. Is that him, kid? No. Is that him?
Yep.
That's the guy.
Get him. And like 2 guys get out of the car.
Yeah, it was Tony Sirico and one of the other dudes. And then, excuse me, scumbag. And I think that's the only movie I've seen that we understand that postal workers are good at 2 things. 1, fighting the Nazis in Poland because they, made their little last stand, and 2, somehow being resistant to a pizza oven at 500 degrees Fahrenheit when you put your hands on it. They are flame retardant people. Yeah. I'm fully convinced federal postal employees are not human beings.
Unless they pay like $36 an hour.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Nor rain, nor sleet, nor fire of an Italian oven shall keep me from doing my job.
You see these hands? Look at that. Pizza oven.
I would deliver the mail unless a gangster Italian pays me $500 to not deliver the mail.
Why are you not going down that route? I'm not fucking gonna disappear. Fuck that.
What are you gonna do? Huh? Send someone else? Go ahead.
Go ahead. What are you gonna do? Fire me? I got tenure.
They'll get their fucking mail one day.
You gonna take my pension from me?
And so, going into that, he ends up getting a little bit more involved into the mob a little bit. So he starts doing the whole blowing up cars in the parking lot and shit like that, which I love that scene of just him just like throwing fucking Molotov cocktails in the cars, and just like one kind of delays a little bit and you're just like, what? Then boom, and he's just fucking hauling ass. Just
the explosion behind him, and that's where he says that line where it's like, one time when my mother was walking home with the groceries, kids from the neighborhood stopped her and carried the groceries all the way back to the house. And you know why? It was out of respect.
And I'm just like, no, it wasn't. It was out of sheer fear. Which, you piece of shit.
Hey, Machiavellian principle is you can either be loved or feared as long as you're not hated.
Yeah, once you get hated,
Yeah, that's when you get rats.
Heads off bodies.
Heads off bodies. They find a head in the desert. Hey, is the little guy, he wouldn't be fucking the Jew's wife, would he?
Heads on pikes, the feudalism or Kid Nation kind of situation.
That's how Porky got killed, and
fucking Lord of the Flies. He dropped the conch. That was he dropped his power.
You dropped the ball, we dropped the stone on you.
Well, it was a little bit more elaborate than that. It was more of like this uppity piece of shit.
Listen, it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
He got his.
The story of man.
Shit happens.
It happens. Hey, what did you say was your book report on Lord of the Flies? It happens.
It happens. All right, shit happens. Shit rolls downhill. And sometimes it falls on the fat kid with glasses.
To sum up a classic novel, shit happens. It is what it is.
That's a Marcus Aurelius take on it.
Yeah. That's the great philosophy. It is what it is, punk.
Get with it or get rolled the fuck over.
Or I believe what Cap told me one time, it sucks to suck.
I love that expression. That's nihilism.
Yeah, it sucks to suck. But Henry, going back to Henry, so we start getting a little bit afterward, and we find out he's currently in a extortion process with a restaurant.
An insurance scam.
Yeah, an insurance scam. And so there is a conversation that happens, which is a big part of the movie, of Henry and Joe Pesci. After we get like the background of Joe Pesci and Ray Liota,
and the whole introduction of it's Nicky Eyes, Michael France's Tony 2 times with the info. So I'm gonna go get the papers. Get the papers.
Yeah. So we meet all of our background characters very quickly, and we get the conversation. Like, how am I funny, Henry? And we see kind of how awful Joe Pesci's character is,
and volatile, because like the thing is that gets me is like, you see Joe Pesci, he's a short guy, but he's still a threatening kind of guy. Even in Casino, like the scene with the dude that put his feet on the fucking table and he's beating the shit out of him with the phone. Already kind of scary, because like, wow, dude's small but he could fucking hold his own. But the thing is, Tommy D. Simone, imagine it, because he was about your height. He was 6'2".
Yeah.
So imagine having that type of personality.
How am I funny, Quinn? How am I fucking funny?
That's why it's like, I even did the face now. It's like seeing that shit, like you're funny, man. It's just
like,
the way
am I ready to run to funny?
Like Andy Griffith funny?
Oh my god, thank you. But like, it's so funny because when I see that, all I could think of was this Reddit post this guy had made. Every time I watch it now, and he was talking about when he was a kid, Home Alone had just came out, and he saw Joe Pesci at an airport, and he ran up to Joe Pesci, this kid, right up Joe Pesci. He's like, "Oh my God, I loved Home Alone, blah blah blah." And so he said, Joe Pesci leaned down and said, "Who's your favorite actor?" And he's like, "You." And then he handed him a crisp $50 bill. He's like, "Damn right I am."
That is the smoothest motherfucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
Damn right I am.
Wait, hold on a minute, wait.
Yeah, who's your favorite actor? Joe, you, Mr. Pesci. Damn right I am. He just wanted to hand him a crisp $50 bill.
And why do I get the feeling that when he got on that plane, Robert De Niro was sitting there in one of those cream-colored suits, just sitting there smoking a cigarette with the big sunglasses,
like flying to go do casino.
What took you so long?
One of his 57 suits?
Yeah, about 57. Yeah.
For every gram Sharon Stone was putting down her fucking nose.
Even when she died at the end, he had a different suit.
Yeah, because that was her last gram.
Yep.
You spend money on 8 balls, I spend money on suits, bitch. So, going into it, so we meet Robert De Niro's character, who comes in actually later on.
Jimmy the Gent. That was still during the kids' scene, like when Henry was working the card games. He was just a waiter.
Yeah, and he would always come in and like tip like $100 bills and shit. And that kind of like going back and watching like the 5th time, like seeing Henry do that, and then not fucking like losing it when seeing Spider get shot during that same kind of event kind of like threw me out of it a little bit. I'm just like, he would have like some more visceral reaction than like, God damn it, dude, why'd you shoot that dude?
Yeah, like it was a lot of the guys, they don't really show the depth of how bad it was when that happened. Like they make it like they were cold and callous, but a lot of it was because they wanted to get rid of the body. Now Jimmy, apparently reading some of the stuff about the actual events, he was fucking upset. Like it actually killed him to see that. Like he wasn't the same guy after seeing Spider get killed, because Spider, he started earning Jimmy's respect because of that. Spider also was a better earner than Tommy was, so Tommy had some jealousy there too, which is why he was always fucking with him. Yeah. So when you learn the background of this stuff, it's like me watching The Witcher, like reading into the background lore of it and delving deeper into it. You see why your characters are so tense in some parts.
Sing it again. Toss the chord to Witcher one more goddamn time.
Yeah, go ahead. Sing the fucking song.
I love that Witcher. It's hilarious.
Oh, dude, it's the funniest shit ever. My wife started watching it. She got me into it. I haven't looked back. I love Henry Cavill already.
We'll do a whole fucking episode about the season 1 and 2.
That's fine with me, dude.
Because nothing is more like, I've said before, the scene where Michael Corleone gets told off by his wife that she had an abortion is that same fucking like look that he has, is that same look Henry Cavill has in season 2 when old girl's trying to kill Siri, and he just puts his fucking sword and is like, "You dumb bitch." Like, I'm just like, oh fuck, that's gonna happen.
Because I'm sitting here going, I see exactly why these people got slaughtered. Yeah. I see exactly why you guys deserved every fucking bit of this. Because when you watch the first episode, you're like, oh man, these poor people, how could they do this? Then you go back and you're like, oh my god, Sintra was a whole bunch of pieces of shit. Y'all were Nazis. Y'all were just racist assholes.
Yeah, you guys were just assholes throughout the whole fucking movie.
You guys were like Clint Eastwood and Gran Torino, but without the redeeming character arc. Like, he's just constantly...
You're all finger gun.
You're just all finger gun. Yeah. And every... That's all. Did you see the ending scene? Just like, oh my god, that was so brutal. You kind of had it coming.
Yeah.
You said a lot of slurs throughout this movie. It was bound to happen.
He kept calling people fucking old school 50s slurs, and everybody just questioned it. And then one of them got on the phone and looked it up, and it's just like, oh, this motherfucker called me that? Damn. Piece of shit.
They asked their grandfather.
So I love the dynamic between Henry and Joe Pesci's character, because it's two brothers.
Yeah.
It's just two fucking brothers. And when I first watched it, Joe Pesci seems like he's like 100 years old. Like, he always seems like he's like 2 decades older than his friend.
Damn, even back then these guys were old.
But like Ray Liota is his best friend. Constantly.
Yeah, because they were both supposed to be like 21.
Yeah, but it's Joe Pesci, Ray Liota. And like Ray Liota could probably pull off, mid-20s, late 20s.
25, 20. Joe Pesci, he was like 28 when
Joe
they did
Pesci,
it.
since probably 1985, constantly looks 45 years old.
Dude, even when in his movie Family Enforcer, like the first fucking movie he was in the 70s, he looked like he was like 48.
Did you ever see that movie Easy Money with him?
Yes.
With Robert, what is his name? Rodney Dangerfield?
Yes.
He looked old in that movie.
He looked old in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
He looked old in JFK also.
With those eyebrows.
They reference that same guy in The Irishman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy who delivers the truck to at the asphalt plant.
Yeah. So Joe Pesci just connected. You know anything about Joe Pesci? How he's connected like Frankie Valli and all them?
Through Frank Vincent.
Frank Vincent, yeah.
Because they were playing music together. Frank Vincent was a guitarist in California, and he was looking for Jersey, I should say, and he was looking for somebody. And Pesci was the one who answered the ad in the paper he put out.
But like another part of that is that he's actually seen in the play Jersey Boys.
Yep.
His character, the person playing Joe Pesci, is in Jersey Boys. I think that's fucking hilarious.
There's like one of his first debuts was also him singing. Little Joe Sure Can Sing. That was his debut thing as a kid. He was a singer starting out. There's a film from I think the 50s or 60s where I remember he was on Letterman or Leno, one of the two, and he was talking to him like, yeah, I was in my first movie role was actually this 2-second scene you see right here, and it's just a flash to people dancing, but it's like he's right there front and center just doing like this fucking 50s dance with this girl, and he's like, there I am right there, see, look at that big movie moment.
Yeah. Look at me, ma, I made it.
That's exactly, you said that exact same thing.
But so like I want to kind of skip forward a little bit. So they have their fucking "Am I funny?" moment.
Yep.
And so, but there's this scene where they're setting up the restaurant to be burned down, and they're doing this thing. They're doing the act 3 of the scam.
Yeah, dipping the shit in the iodine, putting them up, and then lighting them
and walking out. And the whole time, Ray Liota, who's always kind of like focused on the job until later on, where he kind of just goes off the rails.
Yeah.
But Ray Liota in the beginning is very on the job kind of guy.
Meticulous, everything's got to be right.
Yeah, because he's not full. He will never be fully in.
He is a associate, which you have no protection.
Yeah, but like he wants Paul Cicero. Like Paul Cicero relies on him, and Joe Pesci, and Jimmy. He relies on all three of those guys very heavily. Even though Henry Hill and Jimmy will never be full, but they're so respected in the game that they kind of have a proxy a little bit.
Yeah.
If someone was to go after them, the mafia would step up a little bit. Because
with Jimmy had a little bit more of a foot in the door than Henry did until the Lufthansa and another heist that they pulled that was actually bigger than another really crazy fucking heist that was similar to the Lufthansa one in the film.
Yeah. Because he's also let's look like Henry's crimes. Not only is it cocaine, extortion, racketeering, the Lufthansa heist, it's also the Georgetown point shaving scam.
Yep. I was just about to bring up that. Yeah.
And then it's the crimes he committed while he was out during his witness protection days.
When he was in Seattle and he had to move drugs for a couple of Colombians from the cartel that he owed a debt to.
Mm-hmm. So those are the important events of Henry Hill. So he's a criminal throughout.
Completely.
But they do varnish him up a little bit as Ray Liotta.
Oh, of course. It's like people. I was listening to a podcast called the Original Gangsters podcast. It's Scott Bernstein and a guy, and Jimmy, I forgot his last name, but he's a professor over at one of the universities in the state of Michigan, and Scott Bernstein wrote the book Mafia Prince, which is about Phil Leonetti from the Philly mob.
He's a Phil Leotard.
No, I almost fucked up there. But no, they were talking about that. They were talking about how, when you see the movie, you have that you take it at face value, like, oh, Ray Liotta. So this guy must have been like a real charmer. He must have been a good-looking guy. You look at he's fuck ugly. You take a look at Henry Hill, and it's like immediately any woman that had any preconceived notion is going, oh,
rapist.
yeah.
Well, that's what I liked about gangster. What was that gangster movie with Josh Brolin? Not American Gangster, but where they're hunting down, where Sean Penn's in it, and he's playing.
Fuck.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
But Sean Penn's he looks like the real guy.
Yeah.
From Vegas.
God, what is the name?
Or L.A. But Gangster something, Gangsterland. Gangland or some shit.
I'll have to look it up again.
We'll try to remember every movie we've ever watched in about 5 minutes. Or we'll say it in the middle of another podcast.
Yeah.
Fuck, it was gangsters.
I know we're like 10 episodes away from what we were just talking about, but it was this movie with Josh Brolin.
But yeah, so Henry Hill, he's a suave motherfucker, but they're sitting in the car, and I love this conversation. And it's just Joe Pesci talking about this fucking woman, and he's just like, you know, can you believe this, Henry? She won't go out with Italians.
She's prejudiced against Italians.
She's prejudiced against the Italian people. And like Henry Hill is seeing through all this bullshit. And it's just
what are you telling me this for? What do you want? What do you want from me?
But he's that guy. It's just like when you have someone you know who's like, hey man, how's it going? I just want to come over and say hey, blah blah blah.
Yeah, no.
And then like 15 minutes later, it's just like, yeah, man, that's really cool. How are you? You know, that's really good. You're doing all this, and I've made some bad choices. You know, lost my job. Can I borrow like some money? And it's just like that. You wasted my time. You just
wasted 25 fucking minutes for me to just tell you no anyway.
Yeah, it's
like why couldn't you just start with that?
This is the Clark Griswold and his brother-in-law situation.
The bad thing is, what I was gonna say is like that scene is basically like myself and my brother. Like my brother asking me for something to help him out.
Yeah,
and it's just me sitting there going, What the fuck? Why are you taking 45 minutes to tell me what you want? What do you want? Yeah. All right, why couldn't you just start with that?
And so it always comes out to, Henry, will you go on a double date with me?
No, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not doing it. Well, what the fuck do you even know, Henry? I haven't even asked you anything yet.
Just fucking no. And I'm just like, I love that resolve. Fuck no, just no.
And then once he gets like the introduction to him about it, he finally goes, fine, all right, I'll go. So you don't have to go alone. It's because he's just trying to get his friend laid at that point, and he's not going to stop bitching. And as he's telling him that and still arguing with him, the fucking place is catching on fire.
God damn it.
You in your fucking mouth. You see what you made me do?
And now they got to flee the scene of an arson that they actively
as they're arguing too.
Yeah. So we get an introduction of Karen, the other narrator of the movies, because the whole movie up to now has been narrated by Ray Liota. Mm-hmm. But now we get Lorraine Bracco. So I love Lorraine Bracco in The Sopranos. I hate Lorraine Bracco in Goodfellas. She is such a bitch. And she's the prototype to what is eventually Tony's wife in The Sopranos. She's the prototype version. And so we get the double date, and he's constantly doing the watch thing where he's just like,
fidgeting, tapping his
and she's talking trash money shit about it. He's like, this motherfucker didn't even look me in the eyes.
I just love his little thing where he's like, when they were getting ready for an appetizer, I already ordered my entree. When they were getting ready for dessert, I was asking for the bill. Mm-hmm. Like I'm ready to get the fuck out of here. I got some shit I got to do.
Meanwhile, Joe Pesci's all over this girl, and she's all over him, and they're fucking. And what's funny is like he takes off, and I love Joe Pesci's one line. Hey, honey, he really likes you.
Yeah, because they were gonna do it another night, and he took her home and just kind of like was fucking gruff about it. Yeah, just go, goodbye.
Yep, goodbye.
Doesn't even say a word. Gets right into his car, drives off.
And then they do another one. He never shows.
And so she gets upset, and
she starts crying. And
she's just like, I don't know why he wouldn't be here. You know, he's always busy. That kid. He's always got something to do. You know, he probably didn't even mean it. He probably forgot. Yeah, I don't know.
And then we get the narrator. So I made him take me to Henry.
You got some nerve standing.
And you got fucking Tootie and everybody. Oh, what are you doing to this poor girl?
I just love his face where it's like he goes from this shock look, but he's got that little bit of like he's trying not to smile.
Yeah,
he's just like, holy shit, okay.
But now he's cheesing because now the girl's after him.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I thought you didn't like me, bitch. And he's like, he's like negging her a little bit. Like, And he's like, whoa, I thought you just didn't like me because, you know, you're prejudiced against fucking Italians. But so it ends up, he takes her on the proper date.
Goes to the Coca Cabana.
Yeah. And they're doing the whole, like, in through the back, you know, hey, Henry, how you doing? Hey, I got that thing for you. Let me talk to you Tuesday about it. You know, that fucking little half-ass handshake. They grab a table from the back, put it up front, got 2 chairs, looking around at everybody's like, whoa, what the fuck you doing? Shut the fuck up. This is a guest. You know? And they got him sitting up front, comedian's going, doing his thing. There's a singer, blah, blah, blah. And she is just blown the fuck away.
Because she's sitting here going, I was wondering how a 21-year-old kid would be able to do it. Because she grabs his hand and is like, you don't feel like, because she asked him what he did for a living. He's like, I work in the union, or I work construction. You don't feel like you work construction. Talking about no calluses on his hands. I'm a union delegate.
Yeah, and it's just like I'm just waiting for that one moment because I'm watching Sopranos so much. I'm just like, I work for the environment.
It's an environmental recovery agency. It's a retirement community.
It's that guy. It's just that voice yelling.
It's the PC version of what it actually is.
Yeah.
But it's the rare times fucking Tony is being PC when it benefits him.
Yeah.
If it's to soften the blow of what he's doing to somebody.
I'm tired of telling people we're not in the mall. I work in the environment.
And it's a stereotype. And it's offensive.
Yes, it's a stereotype that you are perpetually doing, you fat fuck.
You just picked the fucking wrong card of picking sanitation.
Yeah.
A most obvious fucking thing.
Yeah, the most mobbed up fucking thing.
That's like the most mobbed up thing next to I work at the docks.
Yeah, I work at the docks. What do you do?
You're in the import-export business too, right?
Yeah. I mean,
more importing than export. A lot of shit falls off the boats.
Asset relocation is just another word for theft.
Asset relocation. Where were you located? I don't know. None of your fucking business.
Car.
How about you mind your fucking business?
Yeah.
I don't see you.
When Christmas comes, I don't hear you asking about my motherfucking job.
But I'll tell you one thing I'm constantly having to ask you about. Where are you fucking union dues? You pay your union dues this month?
Yeah. So they go on to this date. It's fucking fantastic. And they start continuing going on. So a part of the movie that they don't explain is, so around this time, she wasn't just dating Henry. She was courting another guy.
Really?
So
the neighbor.
Yeah, the neighbor. So when I was younger, when I was watching that, I was like, does she have two boyfriends? Like, why is Ray Liota not mad about that? Then I like grew up and realized, back then a woman or a guy would have multiple, partners that he would see, and then he would end up dating one more significantly.
It really, you know what it is? It's the same kind of thing that you run into, like a lot of. It's like the traditional thing of like the gender roles from back in the day, where it's like a man, as he's growing up, he gets to his teen years, fucks around a little bit, blah blah blah, he gets into his early 20s, and then he realizes, oh fuck, I gotta slow down. At least in that time period. I'm talking in the context of then. Meets a bunch of girls, kind of like what we were talking about off air with Bronx Tale. They're like the great fighters. I just happen to have all three at the same time. Yeah. So it's like I fucked up. I had my chances and I blew it.
Yeah. And so then we get the scene where they're hanging out, and it's Jimmy and Henry at the guy's place, a store. The guy with the mop on his head. Yeah,
Maury. And
Maury's wigs.
Because Maury owed Jimmy money. He was in debt to a lot of money. And I found out, you want to know why Jimmy... his name in the movie, Jimmy Conway, but Jimmy Burke was really fucking pissed like that. It wasn't just the fact he owed him money. Jimmy Burke had insomnia. I found this out. So he would stay up all night watching TV. He'd go into the living room
and see those late ads.
And he would see those advertisements every fucking night. So imagine, let's say I owe you like 50 fucking grand.
And I'm constantly hearing y'all play.
You're just constantly hearing me play and hearing about how many album sales we got, and it's like, this motherfucker.
just go to Mikey's house. Call him right now. You tell him to come here right fucking now.
Today.
Meanwhile, I'm just feeding his dogs like raw meat and doing powder. Just getting them riled the fuck up.
Just in case. Just
as soon as you come outside of the backyard of Mikey's house, like, me too. And just look at these dogs just come out. Oh my god.
And that was the thing.
You got all this money to buy fucking Liz's lettuce and shit. But you got money for me, you piece of shit.
Just chokes him with the fucking phone cord.
Oh yeah, and then it's like Henry's laughing.
Because and that was genuine too, because the wig fell off. It wasn't supposed to fall off.
Yeah, but like he's genuinely laughing. It makes him look like a fucking psychopath. And like he gets the call, and it's the other guy that's with him. He's like, hey, Henry, you got a call. And it was used. So back in the day,
no, it was Maury. Maury had the phone rang, and he'd pick up the phone, and Jimmy had to stop strangling him for a second so he could be like, Maury's wigs.
Yeah. And so it's for you, Henry. He takes it, and we don't hear what she says except for a little bit. She's in a phone booth, actually.
Yeah.
And she is bawling her fucking eyes out. And we see she's got a remnants of what a shiner, maybe, and her clothes are tore. So we can only inflect what may have happened. The guy tried to rape her, or probably did. That's the worst part. He probably fucking did.
And it's back in the 50s too, so it's like
it's not
it really wasn't a reported event for most women.
Yeah, and if it was, It was a family that took care of the situation, or it was just blocked out.
Yeah, the cops did nothing. Yeah. Okay, we'll look into it.
All right, so I love this scene.
Yeah, this is my honestly favorite fucking scene.
And
this is what every like married man wishes they could do.
Yeah, this is a revenge fantasy right there next to like Death Wish.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so he's like, "Where are you at?" And he's calm. Even though they're extorting money after this man that's right next to him.
I gotta go.
Yo, where do you gotta go? I gotta go.
It's Karen, Jimmy.
It's Karen, bitch. Like I gotta deal with it. So Jimmy understands.
Yeah, do what you gotta do.
Yeah, it is what it is. So he flies over. He picks her up, which we don't see. He picks her up, takes her back home, gets her to the door, and then he looks across, and it's the guy with his two buddies.
Just looking in his rear view, and the guy stopped what they're doing to look at him because he reassured her, "You're all right," because she turned to him and told him that they were just talking, hanging out. He tried to kiss her. She said no, and then he started getting really angry. Yeah, it was like a whole fucked up thing.
And it got up to she did that part with a voice that was just like infuriating. Not that I'm infuriated with her, but her just trying to tell me a simple story. And I know where it's going. It's just going to keep me more infuriated.
It's like the more she tells it, the angrier I get.
Yeah, it's just like you're just adding gas.
And that's fire. And that's the scary thing though too, because Henry, you've seen him fly off the handle a couple of times, but it's like that. He gets to the point where you hit that madness or that anger where you're just silent. And you're just processing like, all right, I know exactly what I'm going to fucking do.
And so he beelines for the fucking neighbor.
Straight across the street.
And he's like, oh, what the fuck you going to do?
What's up, fucko? You want some?
Oh, yeah. And he gives him...
King.
And he beats him with a .38 revolver. And it's made of steel. It's not like a gun made today. It was half plastic. Nope. And it's boom, boom, boom. He strikes about 3 or 4 times, and then he points the broken gun at the other two guys. And they're like, whoa.
Don't shoot.
Don't shoot. But they can't tell because his hand's all covered in blood. But the way he's holding the gun, if you look, he's holding his finger right under the barrel to hold the gun because it broke in his hand.
And who's going to really pay that much attention if you just watched your friend get the shit beat out of you?
Yeah, on his own property. That adds a layer to a beating.
That's a power move.
That's a power move.
Don't fuck with the guy across the street.
Yeah, so he just walks back, and he's like, hey, are you okay? And he has
hide this.
And Karen just, the line, I had to admit, it turned me on.
It kind of turned me on.
And I'm just like, that line is so fucking hilarious.
Because all I think of is the thing you brought up with season 1 of The Sopranos with Coos, where he hands in the box. I need you to hold on to this for a few days. I gotta admit, kind of turned me on.
I listened to that episode not long ago, and I forgot I said that. I forgot all the time that I fucking said that.
So now I have to watch that scene again, and I'm laughing my ass off. My wife is looking at me like I'm fucking nuts. I'm like, it's a reference from another movie. Like he wouldn't get it unless he watched it.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there like,
here's some headphones. Just listen to what Chris said. He's bad for you.
Oh my god!
Don't be friends with him. I got a fun story. I got a fun story to tell you right after this because I think it'll be fucked up. But so he does that, and so the relationship goes forward afterward. They end up getting married. Like we're just gonna skip forward a little bit. They end up getting married, and I love how Karen is not quite fully understanding the mob during the wedding. Yeah, everyone's having a good time, and then there's a bag full of money that everyone's throwing in,
and a copious amounts of Petey's and Paulies and Marie's.
Yes. Yeah, there's Peters and Pauls, and they're all
my
their
nephew
wives.
Petey. This is his brother Paulie. Yeah, that's my other nephew Petey. Paulie. See, yeah. I even get confused.
And another part of like the whole old school version of this is she's still living at home while they're married because they haven't had a house yet. They haven't got a house yet. So they go on their honeymoon, blah blah blah. But one of the incidences that happens later on is they're out, and he brings her back to her mom's house. And he has to go back out because he's the mom from Sopranos, the grandmother.
Yeah, how did I just forget her name? Tony's wife.
Yeah.
Carmela's mom.
Yeah, Carmela's mom is fucking Lorraine Blanco's mom.
Yep.
And she comes barreling out of there. And she's like, what kind of man goes out of like... And I love Joe Pesci just like, yeah.
What kind of people do they think we are? What kind of people are we?
Yeah, Henry. It's like, oh my God, this
fucking
battle axe.
He's just an asshole. He's that friend. He's like that friend that you experienced in high school that would be making the sex noises or like pass the weed, bro, in the background when you're on the phone with your parents. Yeah. Not helping the situation.
Yeah, Suzanne Shepard plays Karen's mother.
That's right.
And so...
Because they had a whole argument up until, like, where he was. And, like, she was dragging Karen's dad into the middle of it. I just love the dad being so apathetic. But at the same time, when he comes out of his indifference when she brings that up. Yeah. Like, even he's looking up like, bitch, what the fuck? Man, I didn't go out because I have had all these digestive problems. Yeah.
Your father doesn't go out. My father doesn't go... Pops doesn't go out because he fucking can't.
Like, what? Even the dad's looking at her like she's fucking nuts. Like, your mother's a fucking nutcase.
Yeah. Henry, you're fine.
I don't care.
And it turns into the father-in-law loves the son-in-law kind of situation, like The Sopranos.
Oh, he's fine. What are you so worried about?
Hey, God, why don't you just shut the fuck up? But, so... I love Karen during the wedding where she, like, for one brief moment, she's like, oh, shit, where's the big bag of money? And he's like, oh, no one's going to steal from us. Trust me.
Yeah, it's safe here.
It'll burn us all to death. They'll burn everyone in here before they lose that bag. So, and Paul Cicero, says congratulations to Henry, which is, in hindsight, it's kind of fucked up because we know the true story later on.
Congratulations. I can't wait to bang your wife.
Yeah. Prima nocta in the mafia.
It's Latin. It comes from Italy. It's only natural, son.
Yeah. Some Scots got mad about it.
Let me show you how a man does as another man's wife.
Yeah, let me show you.
You ever heard of a cuckold, Henry?
What is that? Latin for bitch.
That's Latin for take it and wait.
Take it and wait. I was watching I was watching a reaction video for someone watching Braveheart for the first time.
Oh fuck!
And they do the prima nocta thing, and she's like, "What the fuck is that?"
Oh, dude, when I was explaining that shit, I had a friend of mine that was watching that with me, and he's like, what the hell are they doing with the guy's wife? Are they going to go kill her? I'm like, no. I mean, at that point, I feel like the woman would want to die. Yeah. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, he's going to consummate the marriage. What do you mean consummate the marriage? He's going to take the place of the groom. He's going to fuck that guy's wife.
Yeah.
Before he has the ability to fuck his own wife.
Yeah. And it's the guy, it's always that one guy, in Braveheart, if you watch it, it's the guy with the scars on his face.
Yep.
And it's always that guy, and it's just like, that guy always gets a rough story in a movie.
He got his revenge, though. Brutalized the fuck out of the guy that did that to him. Yeah. Didn't give him gave him the split second to see what was about to happen, and then killed him with a sledgehammer.
All right, so going into their marriage, so there's a problem that happens where Karen ends up getting worried about Henry. But Henry is actually, during this time, this is when we get the Lufthansa heist after the marriage. So, one guy, in the movie, one security guy comes up with the idea and sells it to Jimmy. But in real life, it's two guys.
Yep.
Yeah, you brought this up during the intro episode, where it was two guys that had to be involved, all along with Jimmy, Sam Jackson's character, Robert De Niro, Jimmy, and Joe Pesci's character. Because I believe it was Jimmy and Henry that actually walked in and grabbed everything.
Yeah, because Tommy didn't come in. It was just Jimmy, Henry, and Frenchie, but Frenchie was already there. He was one of the guys. Now, one of the other guards that was working there, since you mentioned the two guys, wasn't cool with that at all. Yeah. They had to get him drunk, bring in a couple of like hookers and stuff, so he'd be, all right, whatever, I'll look the other way.
Yeah, they probably should have had to do the same thing to the cop that was watching Lincoln.
Yeah, pretty much.
Give him a shit face. Hey, where's the guy? There's supposed to be a guy here. And it's like, oh, he's drunk. Fuck.
I'll be in a minute.
Pow, what was that? That was your job. That was your pink slip being written, motherfucker.
Oh, well, can I get my last paycheck now, then?
No. You're lucky we don't hang you as a co-conspirator. So the Lufthansa heist, which is, up until that point, the largest airport heist.
In American history.
It's actually second largest heist in American history. The first one is here in North Carolina, which is the Wells Fargo heist.
Yes.
Armored truck. They made a fucked up movie about it called Masterminds with Zach Galifianakis.
Yep.
And it was funny as shit. But the real story is fucking rough. Like, it's like them trying to fucking
sugarcoat it.
Other than the fact that there's these rich assholes trying to murder this one man. But so I had no idea what Lufthansa was when I first watched it. Then I realized, oh shit, it's a German air company.
See, I was used to seeing that because JFK was, and LaGuardia, I had been to those airports numerous times. There was Lufthansa planes. There's a Lufthansa building at JFK airport.
And now that was that's like a golden like bird or some shit on the wings or something.
I believe so, yeah.
And I went up and looked at more about it. Like some of those were blood diamonds that had snuck over here by the Israelis.
The same diamonds that Nikki in Casino was asking for. Mm-hmm. Those diamonds that they were importing from Israel, those were probably most likely coming from the same area that the jewelry that they stole was coming from. So it's really interesting to hear it all.
And like a lot of those diamonds were actually done from, blood diamonds, basically.
Yeah.
They were illegally taken from sub-Saharan Africa,
the Congo, because that was I don't know if the Dutch still had a hand in it, but I know there was a lot of companies that were still down there.
Yeah, a lot of European companies were still down there. There's a crazy story about De Beers, the De Beers Diamond Company.
Yeah.
About how they got into the diamond business.
And funny enough that you mentioned that, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's the Siege of Yadetville. Yeah. That movie with the Irish guys that are in the UN, they're the UN peacekeepers. The scene where you see a guy in a white suit and a white hat walking up and talking to the mercenary captain. That's supposed to be one of the heads of De Beers in that region. So that's to kind of give you perspective on it too. That they had a very big hand in governmental affairs and when the UN was around.
Yeah. But yeah, so they end up curating this great high. I love Henry's in the shower listening to the radio. And he's like, motherfucker! Jimmy! Yeah. And so everything's working out great until they go to the bar.
That's my favorite
They're
scene.
celebrating, but they're not celebrating. They've given Paul Cicero his share, which was right to do.
Kick it up.
But the whole agreement was, we're not supposed to spend a fuck ton of money.
Keep it hidden, keep it quiet.
And here comes this fucking schmuck with his goddamn wife in a brand new fur coat.
And a brand new fucking car.
Yeah.
Because it was first the dude that came in with the pink Cadillac, and he starts going off on him. What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck's the matter with you? You're going to spend... I tell you not to spend the money. Now you're going to make us all fucking hot. You're going to all fucking pinch. Are you stupid? Bring it back.
Yeah, take it back. I can't take it. Take it back.
I don't care what you do with it. Just take it back. Get it the fuck out of here.
And I love how they just take the coat off the woman and kick her out.
And he's cursing at her in Italian the whole time too. Because even at first Jimmy was already annoyed seeing the guy coming over with the car. So he tells him to leave. And then as soon as he leaves, fucking who was it? I forgot his name. I just totally forgot his name. The Frankie Carbone, who's based on a couple of different people, but he comes in with his wife with the fur coat, and he goes, "Oh, look at this! I got the one fucking idiot coming in with the car, and now I got you coming in with like this. Are you fucking kidding me?
You're killing me. You're fucking killing me." And so they get all that kind of straightened away, and then here comes Maury, and I loved this scene because
iconic.
It's Henry trying to calm Maury down. And it's just like, Henry, my boy. And he kind of gives him the tap on the face. He's like, because he's his friend to a point. He's like, does Jimmy think I'm a fucking schmuck? Does he think he can just fuck me over like that? And I'm just like, shut the fuck up. He was strangling you in your own fucking shop.
He doesn't have a problem with killing people. He's done it before.
And he's letting it go because Henry talks him down. But he's making a scene, which is the problem.
And people hear it.
Yeah. And then it's the outside into the car, and he's like, Maury, look, I want to make this right.
Yeah, it's just like we're gonna go to the diner. The diner by the Rockaways? No, we'll go to the one over at the Boulevard.
Yeah.
Do they have a Danish there? Yeah. I'll get Dale a Danish while I'm there. And as soon as he sits down, he starts talking. And then
yeah. And they got him.
I thought he'd never shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Because that's when the bodies start really dropping.
Because at that point...
Stacks had so one of the vehicles that was used during the heist, Samuel Jackson's character Stacks
was supposed to go drop it off and store it, and he ended up getting high, driving to his girlfriend's house with a hot fucking van or a hot truck, and cops saw it. They found out, they bailed him out. That's a fucked up thing.
Yeah, they bailed him.
If like, that's not the first time that's happened. That happened with the Murder Inc. guys too. They bailed one dude out, brought him to a hotel and everything.
That happened to one of the daughters of a guy working for Whitey Bulger.
No shit.
She got, so get this shit. So one of his associates, a close associate, was fucking his stepdaughter, his own stepdaughter. The guy was fucking his own stepdaughter.
Ugh.
And got bailed out. And Whitey Bulger's in the car. Hey, sweetie. How was it in there? You all right? She's like, oh, I didn't say anything, blah, 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 just reiterating that. And he's got real fucking pissed because it's like, why does she know anything at all? They took her back to the house, and Whitey Bulger made that dude watch as he killed that girl, the stepdaughter, in front of him.
Jesus
and
Christ.
made him bury his own stepdaughter that he was fucking around with.
Fuck.
Because she knew too much. Later on, he gets killed. But, like, that's what happened.
No, yeah. I mean,
so, like,
I didn't realize
the whole bailout of anything.
I knew he was depraved. I just never heard that story.
There's an actually thing, a guy, if you ever watch that show, I Am a Killer.
Yes.
One of those guys talk about, do you deserve execution? He's like, oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I deserve it. But so do other people. And they're like, well, how do you mean? He's like, well, if I was the family and some guy killed my kid, I'd bail him out of jail and do what would need to be done. And he's basically talking about premeditated murder on a scale. And it's like, yeah, the mafia already had that in there.
Yeah, they had a bunch of people that could have bailed. They had people, Roy DeMeo is a great example of that. He had a corrupt NYPD detective that he would get to talk about all the rats that was in the NYPD. So he would track them down, take them out, tell his capo about it, Nino. Like, they had a really big network in the 60s and 70s. 50s was the high time of the mob. But once Henry's generation came in and shit started getting hot, that's when it started kind of trickling down.
Yeah, because you ended up having crimes like racketeering. RICO ended up becoming a thing
1978.
later on. Yeah, become much later, but like racketeering and also drugs.
Yeah, drugs killed it.
Drugs did kill the mob.
Yeah, because
now you could get like 20 years for like an 8-ball.
Yeah,
and
it's even touched on in the movie too when they start selling cocaine.
Yeah, because Paul Sorvino's character didn't want to have nothing to do with it. Paul Cicero was kind of like, why are you getting involved with drugs, Henry?
Yeah.
It's not good.
Because that's leading forward, going off of this part after Maury gets killed. You know, Henry goes over, talks with his wife, and she's accusing him of knowing something about what happened. Where it's like Henry doesn't fully know, but you get the gist that he knows a general idea of what happened to Maury.
But then it's the conversation. He's like, "You could go to jail, honey." No one goes to jail if they don't want to.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what Jimmy went to jail? Because his fucking wife is giving him shit. He wanted to get away from his fucking wife. And I'm just like...
It was Vinny,
Vinny got away because
he wanted to get away from his wife. He wanted to get away from Sherry. That's why.
Yeah, that's why. You dumb bitch. And so the Lufthansa heist ends up getting prosecuted. Henry's one of the fall guys. I believe Jimmy was another... Joe Pesci was another.
But it was like they didn't get a ton of evidence because a lot of the people ended up getting killed.
So they ended up getting set free later on. But he's in jail. He's in prison with Paul Sorvino and some upper guys.
Which I found out was fucking accurate as shit. Like how you see prison in that movie, how they were, was exactly how it was for most mob guys back in the day.
Yeah. And
you'd have a full Sunday spread.
Yeah, so... And that's another thing that I think Sopranos kind of ruins for you because you think Sunday dinner is a Sunday dinner. No, it's Sunday... brunch, lunch, dinner, supper.
It's an all-day event.
Yeah, it's an all-day thing. So, like, when you see the terror in Adriana's eyes when he's like, hey, why don't you stay for dinner? And it's just like, no, I cannot leave an FBI agent in this house for 6 fucking hours.
That pressure, man.
She would have had a heart attack and died.
Well, it kills me because I'm thinking about, since you mentioned the FBI agent and the informant, I can only imagine Hill having to go through all this and doing the testifying. Like, it was... You know, you hear about guys like a great story is Joe the Animal Barboza. I don't know if you've ever heard of Joe Barboza, but he was one of the guys that took down Raymond Patriarca from Providence. He was one of the mob families up there that took over Boston.
What'd you tell me about Providence?
He ended up, he went into witness protection. He predated, or I think he was just a little bit after Henry Hill ratted out, and moved to San Francisco. Within like a year to 5 years, he was gunned down in a parking lot.
Yeah.
Somebody from Boston had flew out there and took him out.
Yeah, so after the tons of heists and everything, after the jail time, and we get that whole, I cut the garlic so thin it melts in the pan. That's not how garlic works. But anyway, this Guinea Fest is so
he's got that back. Ellis Island language.
Yeah, he's coming back. He comes back, and now we're getting into the cocaine timeline. And this is where we get a little bit hectic, because he had been fucking around with one girl but around that time. He had been cheating on his wife, Karen.
Yeah, with Janice.
Yeah.
And that's where the fucking... My wife loves that scene. Like, that's like one of her favorite scenes, because I even joked with her. I'm like, this would be you if I was doing some dumb shit like this. Just straight up.
So the three women we meet when he starts hooking up with this Guma is a woman called Eliana Douglas, Rosie. She was one of the other girls. And then we get the other girl he was fucking around with, Debbie Mazer, Sandy, the one who's like making the coke balls and everything.
Where she starts actually doing it, and that's where they bust him with the scale and all that.
But Eliana Douglas is actually the woman that Robert De Niro tries to kill in Cape Fear.
Oh shit! Yeah,
it's the same woman. And so that's how I see some of these movies. And so we're going into the fact that I love Karen going to the Hua's house. Hey, landlord. You know you got a
Yes,
whore?
Mr. Landlord. Over in 3C, Janice R. Rossi is a whore.
Hua.
I will let everybody know in this building I'm a whore you are.
And that woman's like hiding behind like a bar and like fucking like.
She's like sitting on her couch and putting her face in her pillow, like.
Yeah, and then we get the scene
with the gun to the face,
and he just
wake up, Henry,
and it's just, and I'm just like. Oh my god!
This made me like. I already liked Ray Liota throughout this whole movie, like as an actor, but that scene right there made me love him because his reaction seems so genuine. Like,
he's calm.
I thought the gun was loaded, but the way he wakes up, you see the shock and the initial. Oh fuck! That's a 38.
Yeah, that's my 38, bitch.
I just beat the shit out of that guy across. It's still got the blood on it and everything.
Yeah, I fixed it. I put it back together,
but I couldn't get all that blood off.
And
I hope it jams. Please God, let it jam.
And he's just calmer than a Hindu cow talking to Karen.
Karen, put it down.
And then she's crying. She's got 40 different.
You love her.
Yeah, she's got 40 different fucking emotions going through her goddamn head.
Understandably so.
And Ray Liota attacks. And it just like gets that, and he's like in her guy, you stupid fucking bitch, I should fucking kill you. And it just
you think I don't put my fucking neck out on the streets? I gotta come home and have you try to fucking kill me?
And she's
I'm sorry.
And he just like walks away.
Flash to him fucking gambling, like, oh my god, what a piece of shit. Like, Jesus fuck, you get mad at your fucking wife for catching you fucking around on your wife. It's the concept of extortion. The ridiculousness of that can apply here. Yeah. Hey, you got to start paying us for protection. Oh my god, protection from who? Is there somebody in the neighborhood? Yeah, us.
When I watched The Departed, I'm just like, that would have solved the Departed situation. Just some random fucking guy in there just killing those two guys.
Just beats the shit out of them, and to the point where it's like, all right, now they're probably going to send like 4 more guys down here.
I can kill 4 guys.
It's just an Irish neighborhood. They're stupid. They're outnumbered.
Yeah.
You think that
I'll send them back home with a shillelagh in the ass.
Yeah, it's like you think a bunch, like somebody would be like, you think a bunch of micks living in one area are gonna let that go?
Yeah.
Like, hell no, dude. It's South Boston.
Yeah. So that scene had like another benchmark of a scene.
Oh yeah.
Right up there with she's prejudiced against Italians.
that was like one of my favorite scenes because that's the scene where Spider gets shot in the foot.
Yeah. So they go back to the to gambling, to sit around the table just talking and
smoking copious amounts of cigarettes, filling the whole room. And
Spider talks back. And I love Robert De Niro's. Oh, he did the fuck you.
Not yet. Not this one. Yeah, it was
the next one.
It was when this was when Joe Pesci was fucking. Tommy DeSimone was high.
Yeah.
Apparently, he was either on cocaine or he was really fucking drunk and just crazy because that's how he was. And this is when he's doing the fucking Oklahoma Kid shit and like shoots him in the foot.
Yeah.
Because he tells him, dance the fucking drink over here. And part of me, when I was a kid watching that, I'm like, how is this man not having a heart attack? Because I could just see the veins popping up in Joe Pesci's face.
So if I remember correctly, after the gambling scene, we ended up in the bar late at night with Billy Batts.
Moving forward, yes. Because Spider gets whacked after he says, why don't you go fuck yourself?
Yeah.
And they bury him, and then Billy Batts comes up because he gets released from prison. Mm-hmm. And the problem was, from what I read and studied from the videos I've watched, different YouTubers, podcasts, stuff to look into in regards to this, was that Jimmy and I think a couple of other guys had split up his rackets while he was away. Nobody had really reached out to him or anything like that. Now, he was a Gambino, and Jimmy, oh my God, Henry and Tommy were all in the Lucchese's.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even though they're different families, it's business. They probably knew somebody who was in there willing to sell out and work with them. So that's another reason why he's very hostile and very condescending again towards Tommy. It's the same concept as Tommy and Spider.
Yeah.
It's business issues. It's you took my fucking money. It would be like in an accounting firm. Hey, you took this account, which I had. I made it clear that I had it. That was going to be my bread and butter for the next 6 years.
Yeah. And I love. All right, so the Billy Batts story is the crux of the whole thing.
Oh yeah, that's the nail in the coffin.
So Billy Batts is just standing there talking cash shit.
It's his birthday.
It's his birthday. Hey, why don't you shine my fucking shoes?
Why don't you go home and get your fucking shine box? You motherfucking mutt!
And the stomp scene. Well, they leave. All right, so they leave. They come back. Then stomp him to death.
Yeah, because what happened was that Henry hung out there the entire fucking time with Jimmy. Jimmy was drunk when this happened, too. Yeah. Jimmy was drunk. That's why I love Robert De Niro. I love the acting that these guys are, because they portray it so well. Even like him missing when he's stepping. It's human error. It's not perfect.
Him with his tongue out like...
Yeah.
He's got his tongue sticking out. I'm just like, that's the goofiest fucking face.
But it's genuine, though, because people be making goofy fucking... Watch the UFC.
Especially when they get knocked the fuck out. Yeah. Hey, what's wrong with him? He died.
He's dead. That was one punch, dead.
Yeah. But so they leave and come back in the movie, and then they kill Billy Batts.
Yep.
And this is a kind of a fucked up scene. So they go to bury him, but they need stuff to do it. So they go to Joe Pesci's mom's house.
Who's Martin Scorsese's mom.
Yeah.
I thought that was the cutest thing.
She's such a lovely lady.
She reminds me, it's like my Aunt Mary. She's exactly like how my Aunt Mary is. Mm-hmm. Little short Italian lady. Like she was probably the same height as my Aunt Mary. My Aunt Mary is like 4'11", 5 foot even. She's Amy's height.
Yeah. And like it's kind of funny because she was in like a lot of movies back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah, so she's in movies like Mean Streets and stuff like that. Yep. But I believe she's also in that De Niro film with Jerry Lewis, The King of Comedy. Did you ever watch that movie? Where he's a comedian?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, she's in that too.
Because she's also in Casino as well. Mm-hmm. She's working at Artie Piscano's little grocery store.
She kind of reminds me of Paulie's mom.
Oh, Nucci. Yeah,
Paulie's mom.
A little bit, yeah. She kind of does that. Yeah, honestly.
They look almost exactly the same.
Yeah, and I feel like David Chase was probably going for somebody similar to that character, too.
And, like, if you look at her, in her younger years, she kind of looks like the mom from The Godfather, the Don's wife. But
really?
Yeah, if you look at a picture of her, she kind of looks like the Don's wife.
That's crazy.
Because at one point I thought, oh, shit, that's the Don's wife. But it's like the movies are made at the same time, like not that far apart.
Yeah.
She didn't age 20 years and age 50. So, but there's a scene that caught me off guard when I first watched it, and it's Joe Pesci showing off her art. He's like, hey, look, I like this picture. Like, the dog's looking this way, the dog's looking this way.
And then the guy's like, what do you want from me?
What do you want from me? That's an actual art piece.
And I didn't know that till you brought that up and told me that.
Yeah, so I knew that was an actual art piece because I had an art book that showed masters of, like, genuine masterpieces in art from America. And that's one of them.
And was it a paint by number you were saying?
Yeah, so like what he makes it up. It's like a paint by number thing, and that's what she has. But they made it look like that she did the painting herself.
Like she did the entire thing.
Yeah, but it's actually a classic art piece. But it caught me off guard when I watched it. I'm just like, No. Like, she did a pay by numbers, maybe. But, like...
If Will Hunting was here, he'd tear that shit apart.
Yeah. So I just love the whole scene where it's just like, sit down, have some food. Henry, you're looking thin.
It's like 3 o'clock in the fucking morning, and she's making dinner for them.
Yeah, it's just like a fucking manicotti or some shit.
And you can't. The thing is, man, growing up with Sicilians, if they're doing that for you, you can't turn it down.
No, it's
considered an insult.
In almost any culture, you can't really turn that down.
No,
if you're at a fucking Irish guy's house and he's offering you some scotch, you fucking drink the goddamn scotch.
Well, no, it's kind of like my dad, my stepmother. She's Colombian. It's the same concept there. Food is a very big part of the culture. Yeah. You go into, like, you come to your family's house, doesn't matter if we're first, second cousin, you know, or if you just married into the family, you're part of my family.
Food is like the universal handshake, you know.
Yeah, it's a peace treaty. It's always you can have good food and good times.
But now blankets and guns, not so much.
No.
But after you do the Irish goodbye,
where'd he go? He's gone. He left. He didn't say bye? No, he didn't say it to us either. What's an Irish
goodbye? It's like a Colombian siesta. You just disappear and go take a nap.
For real, though. Doing both, you are not wrong.
Yeah, he ate all the good food. He ate it all and he went to sleep.
You're damn right.
In his car.
Surprisingly left it on in the garage. Yeah. I think he's done.
Yeah, he's dead. What do you call that? We call that the Scottish goodbye.
He wants Amazing Grace played by a bagpiper at his funeral.
Yeah. Why is all these guys wearing dresses? But
you shut the fuck up.
They look. These women look awful.
It was like my wife asking me. We were watching this cop show or this cop documentary, and it was a police funeral, and they had bagpipes playing there. And she's like, "Why?" She started giggling. She's like, "Why the fuck do they have bagpipes?" So I'm like, "First cops in New York City were Irish.
Yeah,
it's part of the tradition." She's kind of went, "Oh, well then." Yeah, it's confusing. Everybody gets confused. It's like
meanwhile, there's a Puerto Rican cop who died. It is like there's these bagpipes playing.
Man, I can't believe Gomez died. Yeah, and I can't believe they brought a bagpiper too. Yeah. Wasn't he Puerto Rican?
Yes. Yeah. Well, they didn't have room for a parade.
Damn, Chief, that's a little prejudice. Do I look like I fucking care? I got tenure.
You see this? This means not welcome, and he just points at the New York logo.
Oh my god.
He's lucky he was a cop, and not a victim.
Bro, that's so fucked. Yeah. Oh my god.
Alright, so now this is the part of the movie where the soundtrack really starts kicking ass with fucking Eric Clapton and fucking Rolling Stones.
This is when we get Layla because Jimmy starts whacking everybody.
Yeah,
because he gets tired of having to fucking cover everything up or try to tell them not to do something, so he kills his crew.
He kills everyone. Yeah. And the song Layla is such a good song.
100%.
And like it plays great in a mafia movie because it's so Layla, and then it's the
that whole instrumental break.
Yeah, and it is like let's take it back a minute. And
I love how they have the most laid back music for the most morbid scenes, where it's like they're finding bodies all over the city.
Yeah, and so like one of the favorite one is the band of the ice truck.
Oh, Frankie Carbone, where he's
just like, I sent you a meme of that. It's just like when you wake up and it's fucking cold outside. It's fucking Frankie Carbone.
There was I forgot who it was, but it was one of the two guys they were based off of. They found him in a freezer, like inside the actual fucking meat processing plant. He wasn't even on a truck. It was like they brought the fucking corpse in and hung it up.
Yeah, just blatant.
Another dude they found, similar to how they found Frenchie, but I think it was a recycling no, it was a garbage barge they dumped him on, and then they noticed the bodies. They were like, wait, hold on a minute.
The fuck is this?
Yeah, whoa! Somebody took care of their problems.
Yeah, and so the whole ship's going down. Around this time, though, the cocaine part is really picking up. He's now fucking around with that girl Rosie, who he's been doing coke with constantly.
One of Janice's friends, funny enough.
Yeah, and what I love about this is she has this machine that turns the cocaine into a ball. It's a press. But she presses it down and it's a giant cocaine ball. And I'm just
like a fucking jawbreaker.
Yeah, it looks like a cue ball. Yeah. I'm just like, what the fuck are they making? And I'm like, there's no way that's fucking real. Like a giant cut ball of cocaine, and they're just pressing it down. They're cutting it like a motherfucker, but they're pressing it down. And I like, because let's go ahead and get toward the end where Joe Pesci. So Ray Liota and Robert De Niro are at the diner. And they're so proud because they hear that Joe Pesci's going to make his...
Yeah, he's getting made. He's getting his button.
Yeah. But it turns out he was getting his button punched. So,
yeah, you punched out, motherfucker.
Yeah, and he's all happy. He's getting dressed. He's with his ma. And, like, she's happy for blah, blah, blah. And then he goes to the random house out in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Take him inside. And nobody's in there.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, no.
Boom.
And the fucked up thing is Tootie's the one that did it.
Yeah. Well, he's a made guy.
Yep.
And if you're a made guy and you hear about other made guys like you getting clapped by some motherfucker who isn't, you're like, yeah.
Well, and also, too, fun fact, Billy Batts was a prodigy of John Gotti.
Yeah.
So the reason why Paul Cicero was like, hey, they're making a whole big stink, like that Billy Batts, that guy, they been up my ass about it.
Yeah.
Because John Gotti... I'm sure you know this, wasn't exactly the most quiet individual when it came to being upset.
Yeah.
So, in other words, everybody probably in his crew across the board was like, can we do something to shut this fucking guy up? Because he's just going to keep going and going and going.
He's going to outbid me on my ice cream truck.
You don't buy me out, I buy you out.
Yeah.
But... that whole thing, that's why a lot of people speculate, because there's a million different things of what happened. Same with Jimmy Hoffa, same thing with Tommy DeSimone. They think Gotti did it, they think somebody else did it. Either way it goes, his body disappeared. Now, years ago, I'd say about 2012, anywhere from 2012 to 2016, there were body parts being found in Robert's Lounge, the same building that Billy Batts was killed in. Well, Robert's Lounge, turns out, when they go in there, into the basement, they find remains of different corpses. Yeah. One of which included Spider.
Yeah.
Parts of which they believe had DNA's very similar to Billy Batts. Or not Billy Batts, fucking Joe Pesci, Tommy DeSimone's character. Mm-hmm. So it's really kind of fucked up to think about it this way, but it was like, while Robert De Niro was killing all these guys throughout the movie, like outside to clip his crew, Tommy got clipped, he got upset, but he was also the one that disposed of the body parts, disposed of the remains.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you could be bitter and upset, but as Ray Liota put it, it's like it's among the Italians. There's nothing we could do. We just have to sit there and take it. But it's like one thing to take it, but it's another thing to make that dude's friend go, hey, you brought him into this and we took him out, so we need you to take the rest of him out.
Yeah, and if I do remember correctly, they had to move a body.
Billy, because they were building a fucking condos.
Yeah, they're building condos. We got to move the body, and it was like that.
What? It's been up there for 3 fucking months.
Yeah, and him and Jimmy go out there and get it, or is it him and?
It's him, Tommy, and because it's right before Tommy gets killed. It's a little bit before he gets killed. It's him, Tommy, and Henry.
Yeah, and they go out there, and they got Henry's car. And it just fucking reeks. And he's out there fucking washing it out. Just fucking throwing bleach.
Oh my God, what is this thing? I hit a skunk, Karen, all right?
Get back the fuck up, bitch. Yeah, just the inside of that Buick is just done.
You're not getting that smell out ever.
No, that's death.
Yeah, that's stuck. That's seeped in.
Yeah, that's in the cushions.
That's in the fucking fabric of the car.
And so, like, going into the next part of it, we get the downfall of Henry Hill. After the death of Joe Pesci's character, it is the downfall of Henry Hill.
Because then he really starts getting into cocaine, and then he starts smuggling and trafficking.
Yeah.
And starts using his babysitter. Mm-hmm. So while he's over fucking around with the girl that's Rosie, who's making the cocaine balls and has this whole processing plant, goes back to the house because he's having a whole family get together.
Yeah.
And he's trying to cook.
He's doing 3 things at once.
Yeah. He's basically honestly, in a fucking weird way, it reminded me of my mother, because this is some shit my mother would do. She'd have like 5 other things going on the other side of town, but she'd still come back to do the 4 other things she had originally planned for the fucking day. And I'm like,
delegate.
Yeah, delegate, but Jesus Christ, talk about spreading yourself thin.
But so he goes and he's getting his brother from the airport, who's in a wheelchair, who's always been in a wheelchair.
Yep.
And he gets him in the car, and he's doing the whole like looking for helicopters. And like he thinks,
there's that fucking helicopter
again. You see that? And he's like, huh? What is it? What are you talking about? Yeah, I think you're fucking paranoid, man. You need to relax. I get my brother to the house. I get the fucking stew cooking. I got the fucking meats cooking. I do all this.
And Michael, I need you to make sure to stir this every 30 minutes. Do you understand me? It cannot sit.
And then his babysitter's giving him shit. And he's just like, bitch, I should fucking kill you. She's like, I remember like she gets in his face. She's like, hey, I never got paid. He's like, shut the fuck up.
When he's on the phone with her, and it's fucking hysterical because I use this line in my life at least one time because it was a similar situation where it was a whole bunch of bullshit happened. I was on the phone with, I think it was either a girl I was seeing or it was like a friend of mine at the time, and I'm telling her that I need her to get something done, need this, that, and the other. And she's being like how his babysitter was going, yeah, whatever. No, not yeah. I need you to make sure it gets done because otherwise I have to fucking come do it and I don't have the time. Yeah. And as soon as she hangs up, he's like, Jesus fucking Christ, every goddamn woman in my life, they're always causing me some shit.
You're just ruining my fucking life.
Yeah. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, every woman in my life is giving me grief. Yeah. I gotta go.
And so we kind of get down to the nitty gritty of it. He goes back to Rosie's. He gets everything found up. As soon as he gets back home, it's a fucking raid.
Yep.
And that's when everyone starts panicking, especially Karen.
Because he got into his car, and that's where you hear the dude go, "Freeze! Don't you move, motherfucker! I'll blow your head right off."
Yeah,
I knew right then they weren't gangsters, and they were cops. Because if they were gangsters, he wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, and Karen is fucking freaking out and starts flushing shit down the goddamn toilet.
Yep.
And I love Henry. Why did you do that? Why did you do that?
You told her.
Yeah, it's just like that was our future.
Because like that's where he. I thought the cool thing was all those guys you see in the police station are real Nassau County police guys. Like even the guy who put a gun to his head is a real Nassau County narcotics cop of like 25 plus years. Yeah. So it's kind of surreal because I grew up there. So it's cool seeing people from the area.
Because he had been in prison multiple times up to this point,
especially with the drug charge.
Yeah,
you see the difference in his uniform too and how he acts while he's in prison.
He's fucking rough looking.
He's in orange and everything too. Yeah. You could tell it's maximum security.
Yeah. It's the end of Henry Hill. He turned state's evidence because that's his last option.
Because he can get, as he said, I can get killed just as easily, if not easier, in here than out there.
Yeah, and that's the end. We get the whole scene of the panoramic shot of the neighborhood zooming in, and it's Henry in a fucking robe and slippers.
I have to live the rest of my life as a schnook.
Yeah.
You order. The thing is, around here, I ordered spaghetti and meatball or spaghetti with marinara sauce. They gave me egg noodles and ketchup.
Good. That's more than you deserve, you piece of shit.
Think about it. The thing is that always got me was that the reason why he kind of got a really good deal is because he was one of the first guys to flip.
Yeah.
He's one of the original people to flip. Any of the early guys that flipped, Michael Francis, Phil Leonetti, Sal Polisi, Sammy Gravano, guys like that, when they flipped and they were kind of involved in a lot of shit, they were a valuable asset because in that lifestyle, up until that point, not a lot of guys flipped that lived, you know what I mean?
And so, this is the kind of the beginning steps of the downfall of certain families within the mafia.
Yeah. Because this was, Lucchese's got it pretty bad, but the worst one was still the Bonanos with Donnie Brasco.
Yeah.
That got the Bonanos kicked off of the whole commission they had.
That'd be another good film to cover.
Yeah. Great movie.
But yeah, the Goodfellas, fucking, for me, 9 out of 10 every time.
Oh, yeah, same. Always a good watch.
Always. Even just to listen to the soundtrack by itself.
The soundtrack's good. See, what I love, too, is, there's so much substance to the movie that it's you could take it at face value, it's a good movie. You could read deeper, it's a good movie. It's one of those films where it's good all the way around.
Yeah. Well, folks, that's our review of Goodfellas. We will be continuing on with other movies like this ilk. And I'm still trying to think of that movie.
Yeah, I think
Gangster Squad.
Gangsters. Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot about Gangster Squad. That's right. Yeah.
So we'll be covering up more movies coming up. Our Godfather. Listen to that with me and Cap. Godfather Part 2, possibly with me and Quinn. And we'll keep bringing it to you.
Yeah.
This has been Chris and Quinn with the Couch Potatoes Retrospective. Thank you for listening, and we'll get you back again.
Later.